be starting off with a new Leetcode problem number 118, that is a Pascal's triangle. This is basically a pattern that we have to print, and it's called as a Pascal's triangle because it's a shape of a triangle. Okay, now one thing, first we'll be going to see the problem statement, and then we will be moving towards the coding of this. Okay, so let's see the problem statement. Here two example is given. Like a Pascal triangle, one thing you need to observe is like is like, if it's a first row, then only one column will be there. If it's a second row, only two columns. Then the third row, three columns. Fourth row, fourth column. So it will be like I and J will be like equal. Okay, so moving with the further thing is like, uh, one more thing that we need to observe here is like, in each row the first element and the last element is same, and that's equal to 1. So here the first element is 1, the second element, you'll see the first element and the second element of the second row both is 1, and in the third row first and last is 1, fourth row first and last is 1. So here we will give this, if it's a first element or if it's a last element, we'll put it as a 1. Okay, and the next thing, like you can see the animation that is being done over here is like, the previous row summation of the above two elements, like 1 plus 2, that's come 3. Okay, so here we'll be putting 3. Okay, now here the for this element, you can see the cursor, like for this element 2 plus 1, the upper row 2 element will be summed up and will be given up in this place. Okay, now first you will be seeing the two examples that have been given in the problem statement. It's like input number of row will be 5, so 5 row will be given and we have to put it in the elements. Okay, in the example 2 the same thing is like, number of row is given as 1, so just one element and that too 1, it's being stored. Okay, no other example is given. So we'll see like how to code this thing. Okay, now I'll be using the Java language. Once you understand the logic, you can just do it in any language for your comfort. It doesn't it's not specific to a single language. Okay, but I will be teaching you the concept in Java. Okay, now seeing the thing, like a whole, the elements where we have to store is like, it is list of integers. Okay, so the big list will be storing all the elements, and the small list, that is the interior, it's defined over here. You can see like I'm pointing, this list will be like for each row. Okay, each row elements will be stored, and then it will be just put up into the bigger list. Okay, now for this purpose we will be defining a bigger list, that will be a list of integer. Okay, list of integer, and that we will be calling up as a result. Okay, okay, and here we will be defining only the outer part, the bigger list. Okay, the array list. Okay, and the interior one we will be defining inside of the for loop, because that need to be put on the every, if each row, it need to be defined, it needs to be value needs to be added to that, and that needs to be dumped into the bigger list. Okay, so just the bigger list we are defining it over here. Now we will be moving up with how many rows triangle we need to create. Okay, so we will be starting off with the for loop int I equal to, we will be starting off with 1. Okay, now by coding you will be understanding why we are initializing with 1. Okay, the first thing. Okay, now this I should be less than equal to, that's the number of rows, so I'm taking that as num rows. Okay, I'm taking that as a num rows. So here I am putting like I is less than equal to num row. So that the each row the thing is working. Like we are not skipping any row. Okay. So the first row, second, third, fourth, and fifth. If my number is fifth, then it will run five times. So that doesn't matter if you are starting off with zero and proceeding it with I less than num of rows. Okay, you can do the same. That also it will iterate for each of the row, but I'm putting this in order to decide my further steps. Now you'll be seeing up. Okay, now this for loop I have taken up for each row, like from starting of the first row till the last row it will be moving. Okay, this for loop. Okay, now I will be defining my list, that is smaller list. Okay, this is again a list of integer. Now I will name it as a list simply, and this will again as a array list. Okay, this is the array list of integer, and then again I am defining a for loop now to inserting each values into my list. Now considering this first row. Okay, now I is equal to 1, so my j should be, if I'm starting off with 0. Okay, now I should write and just show you, like if I am starting off with j is equal to 0, j should be less than I, and j should be plus plus. Okay, now you can see it over here. It's like j is starting off with 0. 0 is less than 1. Yes, it's true. Then it will be proceeding up, and it will be checking if my, okay, now here all again I'll give a condition, like if my j it's equal to 0, if it's a first element, or it can be the last element also. So I'll be putting up another condition, if my j is equal to I minus 1. That's a last, the if it's a for any row, if it's the last element, that's why I'm putting I'm not putting as a number. Okay, for each row, if it's the last element, so for each row if it's the last element, then you need to insert list dot add 1. Okay, just 1. Don't think and don't apply any logic if it's first or a last element. Just put it as a 1. Okay, if it's not the last element, then what we need to do is, like if it will come to the else part, then you can see if it's coming to the else part, like in the triangle that is shown, we'll consider this 2. Okay, now it's not the first or the last element, it's somewhat middle. Okay, now what are we doing over here is, the previous row we are referring, and we are taking up just the top two elements. Okay, and we are summing up the values and we are putting into that. So I will be putting like list dot add. Okay, list dot add, what I will be putting is, first I'll go to the upper row. Okay, now how I'll go to the upper row, now that everything is stored in the bigger list. Okay, result. Okay, so result dot get. Now get, I would be telling like I minus 2, because it's like the previous row, and I have started my row counting from 1 2 3. So I would be telling I minus 2 dot get again. If I got the previous row, that doesn't mean uh, oh, I need to access the elements also. So previous row plus which element. So just I will go up with the immediate top element, that is j minus 1. This is j minus 1, whatever the element is there, just the top one. Like if it's the second element, I'll go to the first and second of the top. Like here the 3 is I am accessing, so here the j will be 1, so I will be going up with a previous j minus 1, that is 0th element, and the next is j. Okay, so these two elements I'll be getting. So j minus 1 plus these two values where I'll getting, I will be adding up with the next element. The same way we'll be accessing that result dot get I minus 2 and dot get j minus 1. J minus 1 I have done, so here it will only be j. Okay, now in this for loop, okay, now in this for loop, like my first row elements will be filled up. Okay, now I need to add this row to the top bigger list so that the elements are not lost. Okay, so I will be adding up this to result dot add the list values. Okay, now it will be storing up all the values. Okay, like 1 1 2 1 2 1, like it will be grouping the elements and it will be storing. Now at the end we will be returning not the list, we'll be returning the whole of the uh, elements that has been stored. That's in our case is the result um, list in which we are storing all the elements. Okay, I think it should run, so let's go and check it. Okay, now it's running for two of the test cases. Okay, uh, okay, now let's check for all of the test cases that's given in the Leetcode problem. Okay, yes, I am getting the proper output, my answer is getting accepted. So do try it out, this problem. If you have any doubt or you have any other ways to solve this, do put it in the comment section, and let's end this video here. We'll meet you up in the next video. Till then, keep practicing.